Sean, hey buddy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey man, how's it going?
Going well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We are live on YouTube, so I'll get us started. Hey everybody, this is Adam DeClerico, the sporting director at Next Generation Soccer Academy. We're super excited to continue with our video series and audio series. And today we have Sean Totsch with the USL, two-time champion USL with Louisville City and championship with the Rochester Rhinos. How you doing, Sean?
Doing well.
How's Louisville going? Lots of yoga classes? Lots of virtual yoga classes? Yeah.
Been getting a lot of, just runs out on my own, take my dog out. And then, the golf courses here are still open. So I get out and golf quite frequently. That way, try to get out there and, stay away from people, but still enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, I guess the golf course is a good place for that, right? You're not really piled in a golf course, are you? So
yeah. So just been out there walking around. It's been extra little some extra steps out there, climbing some hills with my bag, and it's been a nice relief, during this this weird time where I don't get to play soccer, which is obviously what I'd rather be doing.
Yeah. What do you think the fitness test is going to be like when you guys get back?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we've never been too big of a proponent of actual fitness tests, but we have a really really accountable group, and we have workouts that we're supposed to be doing, and some lifting and some running, some hill runs and some bike exercises. So I think for the most part the team's gonna obviously you don't have that quite game fitness from changing directions all the time, but
right.
The base fitness will be at a decent level, I think.
Right. Well, just for everybody listening, Sean's role at USL with Louisville City, he's a defender there, and I've seen him play, and he's under the guidance of John Hackworth, which of course was in charge of the U17 program at one time, and he was with the Philadelphia Union back in the day as the head coach also. So you've obviously got some good leadership there. And I saw you guys also when you were down at IMG the last time you guys were down. We got to see you guys train some.
Yeah.
So,
we've been lucky enough to go down there every preseason that I've been a part of, to go down there for 2 weeks and get some good training in.
Yeah, we were. IMG is a great facility, and training in Florida is awesome. I was talking with Larry Sunderland yesterday, and we were talking about the good old days at the Fire U23s, and it's funny. One of my first questions is just about your first game as a professional. I remember, my first big game that I felt was a big game, and I remember being so exhausted within about 3 minutes. It was, and then of course, I got out of the exhaustion phase a few minutes later, but it was just that, it was that pressure and the anxiety of walking out in the field and all that. So one of my questions for you was, as we have listeners that are parents and also kids, do you remember your first game as a professional, and what was it like? What do you remember about it?
Yeah, I remember my first game as a professional. It was my first year. I was signed with the Rochester Rhinos, and we were playing at the New York Red Bulls 2. And at that time, they were playing at the first team stadium. So obviously, the two team doesn't draw the crowd that the first team does. The stadium was essentially 100, 200 people at the game.
Right.
But still, the experience of my first professional game being on Red Bull Arena on early in the season when the grass is perfect and the weather was perfect. I mean, it was a pretty surreal experience, seeing from what the game was to me to realize what it can be, playing in stadiums like this and high level opponents.
Yeah, it's pretty exhilarating, isn't it? And you guys in Louisville, I mean, I saw obviously the new stadium looks pretty amazing. So I'm sure you can't wait to get inside there.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable, and it's great to for it to be here and for it to be done because as a lot of players can attest, you feel like you've been promised things, and they're like, oh, this is coming in the future, just wait, and as a player it can be tough because you don't necessarily know if you're going to be there for it or not. So to like be here as a part of the team that's been successful and to have our own stadium here, obviously all of us are just can't wait to get in there.
Oh man, it looks awesome. I'm excited to see the first game in there, even though it'll probably be remote. So I know you were an NIU grad, or you went to NIU. So I'm just curious, and I talked to Larry a little bit about this. And as a player, I'm a little bit older than you, but as a player, we've seen a lot of changes in the game when it comes to technology and whether coaches are using it or players or both. And can you tell me a little bit about at Louisville City? How you guys are using technology and how it's helping you as a player to improve?
Well, like one of the things we do, and most teams do this at the professional level. I mean, essentially, I think all of them do now. Is we use like the GPS harnesses. So like every training session and every game, we have the GPS harness with the pod on our back, just to track distances. And I mean, it's interesting to see. One of the stats that we use a lot is work ratio, like your work to rest. You're working if you're moving above a certain rate of speed, and when our work ratio is high, we have a very successful result related to that. So I mean that's one little thing that we use. And then just even using that to manage like workload throughout the week. Obviously you need to kind of, pick things up early in the week. You want to make sure intensity is high, build fitness. And then later in the week, you want to make sure that you're tailoring things to more specifics of the game and less of the bulk of load on the legs. And you kind of want to tone things down. So we use that quite frequently. And, one big thing for me is just noticing like we use drone footage all the time now. So like at training, at any point, there's probably a drone in the air filming the session, whether it's a rondo or whether it's a scrimmage, there's probably a drone in the air. So when you get those visuals to see what things look like above and you see those formations, you can really give insight on, where the spaces are, where you can exploit them, and being a defender, when you have those high visuals, you can have a perfect picture of what the backline looks like because, everyone's seen like a coach who's trying to like run along the sideline and keep the backline organized and make sure they're in the same line. But when you actually see that picture from above, you actually, you're held a lot more accountable and, it's a lot clearer picture for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I think one of your professional flown dryers is Andrew DeLallo, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he is quite proficient in flying the drone.
I'm sure it's a bullet point on his resume.
Yeah, he definitely needs it on there. Going from having this kind of footage to when when I was playing in college, there would be one of those cameras that has a telescopic pole attached to it, but it only got up like 30 or 40 feet in the air, and that's what some teams use for footage. And you're basically using like a sideline cam that's about 2 stories high, trying to analyze the game, and you're trying to scout that, or you're trying to make coaching points, and it's impossible to do that from that kind of angle.
Yeah, that's a good point. The bird's eye view, sort of top of the stadium, makes a big difference in being able to see the whole field. And yeah, I remember reading some stuff about the GPS trackers and the work ratio and how I don't remember what group it was or what team, what club, but it was essentially measuring when a certain amount of players reached a certain level of workload or work ratio that the team won a much larger percentage of the time. Yeah. So it's a pretty interesting sports science, what they've been able to do with that. So another question I have for you is, there's a lot of kids that are home right now and a lot of parents that are also trapped at home. So what is some advice you can give for parents and for the kids too, that they can be doing at home to stay happy and healthy, before they get back on the field?
I mean, it's tough. We all have been going through this, and personally going through this. It sucks being away from your teammates. That's one of the greatest parts about being on a team is when you can just, that locker room environment and having your buddies and being around them. That's just as big a part of the game as being on the field. So I think a big thing is just finding ways to connect with your teammates. And really, it doesn't matter what age they are, but if you can get like some of some of the kids together, on a group call, on like a Zoom call, I think it's vital as well to keep those, relationships and make sure they're still connected to their teammates, because, those feelings of like being pinned in and like isolated can kind of dwell on us as players, but also just people in general.
Yeah, so it's essentially reach out and touch somebody, but without actually getting close to them.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously, a lot of kids are, they have the energy and they're going out and doing a lot of, they're trying to get touches and doing like joking around and playing and with their brothers and sisters or by themselves. I think that's been one benefit here is like the time people have spent together. And just out of boredom, they're going and doing some of this stuff. But I think the connecting part can be kind of overlooked aspect of it.
Yeah, it's good advice too, man. Reaching out to a close friend that you play with, or have your parents, if you're, too young, have your parents set up a little group call between you and your buddies. I think that's pretty good advice. So,
yeah,
I was a holding mid, and I can tell you that even as an old man at 38, I still love a good challenge on the field. I love a good 50-50. I think one of my coaches said I used to slow down and wait for the tackle, which I don't ever remember doing that. But I know one of the things Hackworth said about you was, he thinks you're the best player on the team at winning in critical moments. And I know I've seen you play, and I have to believe part of that has to do with a challenge and a tackle. But one of the questions I have is, what are some things that you do to overcome a challenge, whether big or small?
I mean, like if you try to break it down to like an individual challenge, that's maybe a tougher question, because obviously each challenge is a little different, a little unique.
Sure.
But in general, how to overcome a challenge, I really think it's just that kind of like quiet, consistent work you put in. They're doing the work for the right reason and doing it consistently. Like going out and finding some of these things that you need to improve on, or getting even better at things that you are good at, and just doing those consistently and doing those every single day, because and doing it for the right reasons, because a lot of people will go in and try to work on just say free kicks, for example. If that's a point of pride in you as a player, they'll hit one banger of a free kick and then spend 20 minutes trying to edit video and post it online for people, when really it's like you should be trying to hit that 8 out of 10 times, or work to get there, and then, show it to them on the field when it really matters. And I mean, that's something I try to take pride in, is the work I put in every single day. Whether it's something on the ball or defensively, that it's really the accumulation of these smaller things that help you in the bigger moments. And it's not really, trying to practice these big moments all the time. It's really just, the consistency in doing the little things right that help you overcome these bigger challenges. When you can, kind of compartmentalize parts of a big challenge and break it down into smaller things and do those things well, it doesn't become as big of a challenge.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. Small little wins. Yeah, that's sort of our part of our philosophy too. Is, you know, a lot of failures help build up the resistance, and then you can eventually, when you overcome the challenge, that's the good feeling. So yeah, I appreciate that answer. So I appreciate you, man. We try to keep these relatively short. You know, families are busy setting up their Uno games and whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe going and playing golf. So, you know, you've probably done, I always kind of joke that my family, you know, I think every holiday that I remember as a kid, we were at a hotel at a soccer tournament. And, you know, you've obviously experienced that, but you've also experienced a lot of tryouts, you know, we're playing for a club, or whether it was college or pro. So we're kind of, you know, we're in a holding pattern as far as tryouts go. But I guess my last question for you would be, you know, for the players that are out there and their families, what might be some advice you can give them for the upcoming tryouts to help prepare?
I mean, one thing that was definitely an eye-opening experience, you know, whether it's a tryout or a trial, is realizing what the nature of it is. You know, you're not going into these experiences to just be, you know, another player or be average. You know, like, you have to be exceptional to be picked out of the group, because, you know, especially, I mean, it depends on, you know, how many people are there and how many players are getting chosen, but it's especially in a tryout, or if you're trying out for a professional team, you know, you have to go in there and you have to earn everything that's given to you, and you have to almost take it, because, you know, that was my experience, where you have to go in and take that job. You know, it's a job, and you have to almost take it from someone else, you know, not in a negative way, but you have to go and, you know, prove that it's yours. And
it's a mindset. Yep.
Yeah. And really, that's what your goal is to do, because, and then even once you get there, you know, you get to realize that someone else is trying to take your job from you, you know, and it's, you know, there's nothing negative about it. It's just the nature of it, you know, and that's the nature of, you know, competitive sports, is that, you know, as soon as you're not continually earning your position, or earning your job, or earning your spot in the team, someone else is doing that work, or someone else is earning that spot from you.
Yeah, another great piece of advice, like you said, identify what it is you're getting into, and establish the mindset. So, well, Sean, I hope we can have you back again. You know, I'd love to, the next time we chat, you know, be talking about how the new stadium's holding up, and how everybody's doing on the team, and how you guys are set up for another USL final. I was sorry to see what happened last year. You know, it was a close game, but hey, 2 out of 3 is not bad, and hopefully you guys get 3 out of 4.
Yeah, you know, we got obviously it was a bit of a letdown for us, and you know, we expect to be in the finals and expect to win, and that's what made this team great.
Yeah, you guys are definitely talented. Well, Sean, thanks so much for being on here, and for anybody listening, you know, you can check out Sean, hopefully when the season starts, playing at Louisville City, in the USL top division. And, we appreciate you guys joining and listening to us today. And next week, we have some awesome guests joining us. We'll have, Tony Sane and, Christina Uncle. So, Sean, buddy, take care. I hope your, golf game improves, and, I'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Have a good chat.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.
Take care.